The time has finally come, even though we've had multiple Protros release since the Kobe 1 Protro, but this one is the first one that I feel, outside of the original one, is finally a true Protro. Let's go. Hey, what's going on, guys? My name's Chris. Welcome back to the official WearTesters.com YouTube channel. Today we got a detailed look and breakdown on these bad boys right here. This is the Nike Kobe 3 Protro in what is known as the Halo colorway. For those of you guys that keep questioning why the Halo, like all white, triple white looks for these brand new Protros with Kobe's, they did that with the Kobe 8s as well as the, I believe, the Kobe 9s and now the Kobe 3s. It's because ever since Kobe's passing, Vanessa has been in charge of that whole like rollout for the Protro lines, and so every initial colorway from here on out will be a Halo colorway, and then they will release and produce different colorways and original colorways. So yeah, I just see this a lot. Like, everybody sees this debut and they're like, oh, I hope that they come out with, it's like, dude, they're going to. Don't worry about it. If you don't like all white shoes, just be patient. It'll happen. Now, before we deep dive into these bad boys, if you missed out on our recent Sense Apparel launch, we do have a few of the brand new items left over. Basically, like, once the pre-orders are done, we always order a little bit more just in case there are errors or returns, exchanges, things like that. So if you are interested in the Since 89, the Since the 2000s, or the Since the 90s tees, they are available currently and ready to ship in very limited quantities. I actually just checked the quantities this morning. Almost all of them are gone already. So if you have not grabbed them and they're still available in your size, do so now before it's too late. Links are down below in the description, or simply head over to senseapparel.com and you'll be good. Now, with that being said, this is the box. We all know what this is all about already. I will say that this box is massive compared to like my other ones, but it's because these are actually high tops. They're not low tops. So again, for people that are like, oh, I can't stand playing in lows. Boom, high tops. This was the last high top within the Kobe line. The next model obviously is the Kobe 4, and those, you know, took things down a notch, in my opinion, in a better way. There are rumors that this shoe is going to be transitioning into a low for the Protros, which will be a first time for the model. I really hope that when they do that, that they don't look fucking weird, you know what I mean? Like, sometimes when they do a full-on like high to low, like they'll revamp the entire look. I just hope that they look like this, just low tops, but we'll see. Fingers crossed. I do actually have a couple pairs of the originals, but these are a shoe that I've never played in up until now. I have already played in these. I'm going to refrain, or at least I'm going to try to, from saying anything because I just want more time in them. But this is one of the shoes in the Kobe line that I have been dying to play in for the longest time. And the time is finally now. So yeah, I'm excited, bro. Like, this is dope. First things first though, these actually came with a booklet, which I think is fantastic. We haven't gotten this, I don't think, on any of the Kobe Protros, have we?
No, it's more of a LeBron thing or a throwback Nike.
Right. So they will show online like what's been Protroed about it, but like that's, you don't ever get it with the shoe. This one, it comes with two cards actually. They are both the same, but the first one's in French. Meanwhile, the one behind it is in English. So I think that this is really cool. When you open it up, it obviously depicts like what they've changed and things like that. But some of the stuff that they also changed, they didn't really like detail in this, which I thought was pretty interesting. So I guess that's what we're here for. How? And the first thing would be the outsole. This probably is the most modified outsole on a Protro that we've seen so far. I think that this is really awesome because not only did they have to retool everything, not that the tooling mold was currently open, because this shoe is, what, when did this shoe release? 2007, 2008-ish. This is a shoe that the molds haven't been open for a long time, so they would have had to have recreated everything anyways, but the way that they did it, they just modified things to be better. So if you were looking at them side by side with one of the originals, just in general, if we're looking at the very tip of the toe where the herringbone is, the herringbone itself is different, which is cool. The original features more of like a rounded tip, you know what I mean? Like to every like groove and stuff like that, whereas the new one is very aggressive, very modern, if you will, when we're talking about herringbone and things like that. This one almost looks like a wave bone, which is indeed an Adidas thing, but still, that's just what it is. And then when you look at the main sections, which are all of these like little diamond areas, I am curious how the originals performed, because this does not look like it would do much of anything, but for all I know, it was great. But they've added pieces and recessed diamonds within the diamonds, and I think that that just has like a better look to it. So if I were to judge based off of visuals alone, I would say that the Protro would be a greater source of traction than the originals. Again, I don't know, because I never played in the originals, but I have been playing in these, and I'm going to keep it to myself right now. Now the cushion is probably the biggest upgrade, and this is where I feel that most of the Protros after the 1 have really failed. They really set a really high bar for the Protro 1, where they removed what was originally this setup right here, and they changed it to full-length zoom. They modified the stack height so that you were lower to the ground, and they did all kinds of like little tweaks that you just don't see but you feel on court. Much of which is the same with this guy right here. So inside of the original is really interesting. First off, the setup is very weird. It's a full rubber cup sole, which I know that is like really hard to see on this all white pair, and it's even harder to see on the all black pair. But if we're looking at the original Minneapolis colorway, basically where you see the top line of that like UNC blue, that is the exposed foam, the midsole foam that is inside of the cup sole, which is what used to be white on this guy, but it's kind of yellow now. But the cup sole is right here. Poking through is Phylon or EVA. Same thing with the Protro, but the difference is that they changed the EVA compound. So the EVA compound on the Protro is now Cushlon, and then in the original was a heel and forefoot zoom air unit, and they've removed those and replaced it with a full-length zoom Strobel, which you can actually see if you were to remove the insole. Ooh. So just on paper, it sounds like a much better ride. You know what I mean? Like it feels or sounds like they've really actually upgraded the damn shoe, which is something that we've all been saying they have not been doing for the longest time now. And before I forget, this is the insole with the Protro. I wouldn't say that it's a complete piece of shit, mostly because of what's underneath it. It's basically made to be compatible with that zoom Strobel and everything like that. But if you were interested in what the original one looks like, that's what this is. I will say that I wish that the original graphics were on there. Maybe we'll get that with future colorways, I'm not sure. But either way, this is what the changes are with the insoles and everything. Now, in terms of how the cushion feels, at least from a try-on standpoint, initially, you really just feel cup sole. Like you just feel like kind of a stiff ride underneath your foot. It wasn't until I started really like rocking and moving and things like that, you start to feel like that there is stuff in there. And one of those awesome pieces is the zoom unit. So like it just kind of takes a little bit of time to really activate it because it is also caged essentially. So once you start playing in these, I'm sure that they'll break in, but again, just kind of give me some more time. I only played in them for like a couple of games so far, and I want to keep going. I don't want to give my thoughts just yet.
Boo, you.
Now the upper is something that hasn't changed much, but it was tweaked a little bit. One of the reasons is for performance reasons. Mostly I think that it's just because it's harder to source some of the materials now. But the heel and the forefoot sections are synthetic, much like the original. So even though it looks like leather, they're not. They even came with a sticker that said that the upper is made up of synthetic leather. And then the part that most people hate, like this is one of those Kobes where like when they released, like people were like, what the f is this? Because of this like plasticky, like rubberized upper and everything. They just were not liking this thing. I've grown to like it, but I was one of those people initially where when I first saw it, I was like, those are one of the ugliest basketball shoes I think I've ever seen. But now I just think that they're like cute in their own disgusting way, like a shoe only a mother could love. But essentially the rubberized portions remind me of Curum. If you've been around the channel for long enough, there was a Jordan brand model that used a rubberized upper like this. It promoted strength with flexibility along with lots of breathability, and that's what is offered here. It's the mesh material underneath it that has changed. Again, I think that that's mostly a sourcing issue. I think that they probably could not find the same exact material as what was in the original, and so they probably used what was best and available currently, which I'm not mad about, because there's other things like when you were to compare these two shoes are way different, one of which is actually the sock liner. I do prefer the original sock liner. It just feels a little bit nicer on foot, and it also feels more breathable. One of the things though that they've definitely changed is beefing up that interior section. So this is a lot more padded and sculpted, whereas these are a lot thinner. And they've also changed that with the tongue. The original tongue is paper thin, like it's really crazy. And then the new one is super fat, also crazy. The tongue actually on the Protro reminds me of the Nike Kobe 9 Elite, the high tops and the lows, I guess. And then the actual tongue material on the originals is very unbreathable, I guess. Depends on the colorway. Some of them are synthetic leather, some of them are synthetic nubuck. They are perforated, but it's just very small. It's kind of like a Jordan 3 with the tiny little dot perforations. And again, that's a big upgrade with the Protro, because while it's not Nike's torch material, it's kind of similar. So it offers a lot of ventilation, comfort, relieves lace pressure, all that kind of good stuff. So again, these changes are, I think, for the better for the most part. And so I think that it's just really nice that again, that they actually did this. Like they didn't just copy and paste the original. They like straight up were like, hey, what areas on this shoe can we like upgrade or update or make a little bit better? And you can feel it in the new product. The biggest upgrade, I think, besides the cushion, is something that most people might not even notice, but it's right here at the tip of the toe. It's currently stitched where it was not on the original, and it should have been, because this peeling is like the biggest issue with durability with the model, is that it happened to a lot of pairs, mine included. So with that little stitch added on there, it shouldn't do that. You might get some glue separation eventually, but at least it's still adhered on there. So again, just a little cool thing that I think is dope. One thing that you don't see that I do think is a good upgrade or update is inside the heel. The heel counter, or the built-in heel counter, is much more substantial than the original. The original feels very flimsy. This one feels good. It feels solid. And that, in conjunction with the little diamond plate that you see right here, which was the original kind of like heel counter or stabilizer, it just works really well together. You can see the little details in there, like the Kobe logos and things like that. Obviously this is the Halo colorway, so you know that's all over the shoe, kind of like muted out because of the white on white, but I think that it's dope. So you know, it is what it is. Either you like it or you don't. I'm personally a fan. Everything else though looks and feels very much like the original. So again, I think that this is a great Protro in terms of like recreating the original look and vibe while updating things to more like current standards. You know what I mean? Like I think that they're fantastic. Like they still have a carbon fiber shank plate, they still have the cup sole, they still have the internal cushion, but things are just changed enough to where it doesn't look like a different product, but it feels like a different product, which is the whole point of Protro. It even says out on the back of the card here with the quote from Kobe Bryant himself saying it's all about improving on what's been and making it better for what's to come. So I think that this product personifies that like in product form. So that's something that again, I can't really say with the 4, 5, and 6 Protros or the 8 or the 9. That's not a good run. For the Kobe line, the original line, 1 through, what did they get to, 11 before they did the ADs? Very, very, very little misses in terms of performance all the way through. And the Protro line cannot, like you cannot say the same thing for that, which is really unfortunate. Now in terms of sizing, they do fit true to size, so whatever size you typically wear, that is what I would recommend. This feels a lot more relaxed than the Kobe 9, the Kobe 8, the Kobe 6, the Kobe 5s, and even some of the Kobe 4s. Some of the Kobe 4s fit different. It's kind of annoying. But yeah, this fit right here feels a lot more relaxed, so going true to size for most is gonna be good to go. If you're a wide footer, I would try these on. The good news is that if you go up half a size, they're high tops, so you won't with your ankle stability too bad, you know what I mean? Like that flopping action that you'll get in some of the lower cut models. That won't be an issue here. So you could go up half a size if needed. If you were interested in grabbing a pair, they're gonna be available at select retailers. If you're local here to the Sacramento or Elk Grove area, make sure that you hit up Phenom because they are going to be having some pairs available. I believe that they're available in both men's and grade school sizes. But if you wanted to know their launch procedures, all you gotta do is follow them over at Instagram, simply at Phenom Global. They will make their post letting you know like what kind of release it is and what to do. So it's that simple. And with that being said, what is today's viewer submitted question of the day?
Today's question of the day is a build on or build off of what went on in the LeBron 20 pink diamond.
Okay. You want me to be short with that?
Yes.
that was already hell long.
When the original run of the LeBron 20 ended, the 21s were released to market. Would you consider the pink diamonds a retro or retro plus colorway?
Well, throw the retro plus thing out of the equation.
Because that's a Jordan brand only?
Kind of, like they've only really, to my knowledge, they're the only ones that have used that lingo. And that's only for colorways that weren't an original run.
Right.
Technically, this shoe was an original. It was the first one.
But it was just a two of
Still,
Bron and Bronny.
Still, like we've seen it, you know what I mean? So like it's not like the shoe dropped in the 80s and then we see it in that colorway, like the cool grays. You know what I'm saying? So like it's the difference between the Space Jam and the cool grays, whereas Space Jam is not an original colorway technically, but it's because it didn't release in the original run of 95, but we all saw it in 95. So it's not really a retro plus colorway. It's just that they're finally releasing it in 2000. That's how I feel with this, to make a long answer short, okay? Now, as far as it being a retro, that's where gets dicey because technically it is. And that's where it's like, that shoe didn't even have enough time to breathe before it got a retro. And that's how I feel about the GT Cut 1s and shoes like that, where it's like, if we can't come up with good new product, then why are we forcing it, which was the whole concept essentially of my discussion at the end of that video, which was like, why are we forcing, like if we can't do a real Protro, why are we doing it? You know what I mean? Like if we can't honor the legacy properly, then why are we doing it? If we can't make the next model, the next generation better, then why are we doing it? So like you should just keep it in production. Somebody had brought up in that comment section the Ultra Boost. Perfect example. It's such a great shoe that Adidas still makes that shoe. A bunch of them too, like multiple generations of that shoe. And it's because it's that good and people keep buying it. You know what I mean? Like they don't need to, even though they do re-release, or I shouldn't say re-release, but like release new versions of the Ultra Boost, it takes a while. You know, like they really sit on it and marinate. I'm not saying that the new versions are better or anything like that, because that's up to the person, but they aren't rushing it into production. And somebody had brought up like the James Harden line. They're feeling real redundant from the 7 onward until like now the 10, like, which we've seen leaked and stuff like that. Like seriously, besides the shell, like the visual, it's all the same shoe. So it's like, why are we doing that when you hold off on the Dames and you hold off on the Anthony Edwards shoes, and you're making them as good and as different as possible for the next versions? And that's where it's just like, yeah, like why? But what about you guys? Sound off below, let us know. Feel free to compound your thoughts after the discussion that was in the LeBron 20 pink diamond. Sorry, I just think of those as a Drew League shoe. I didn't even know that they were called pink diamonds. Did I even say that in the video?
No, I had Googled the colorway.
Okay, yeah, because I remember seeing it when I was going through the final edit, and I was like, they're called pink diamonds? I thought it was like the Drew League. Either way, sound off below, let us know your thoughts, and on top of all of that, what do you think about the Kobe 3 Protros? Are you excited? Are you not? Is this a shoe that you loved when it originally released, or are you like me, where you just didn't get a pair and you've always wanted to play in them? And to be specific about the question of the day, do you feel like the GT Cut bring back, or the LeBron 20 in the pink diamond shoe colorway, whatever, bring back is a retro? Or do you still feel that they're so new that they're just another colorway? I feel like it's a retro, and I also feel like it's weird. But either way, sound off below, let us know. Stay tuned for the upcoming performance review. We have a lot of those to do lately, so be patient. I'm getting them out as soon as I can. Testing shoes is not a one-day process. But thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you so much for supporting. We will catch you guys on the next one. So until then, y'all have a good one.
Just to let you know, you're already at 22 minutes.
So make it quick. Is it a good question though?
It's a build on.
On this?